Greetings and welcome to another refit build thing here. I'm in the middle of doing some more wiring here. Mostly I've been testing out all these LEDs and trying to light block. The worst parts about light blocking are the RCS thrusters, because the LED is aimed directly at the sidewall and it just blazes right through. One of the little tricks we all learn from long ago is to use Tulip. This is Tulip. It's actually fabric paint. It's really great for light blocking, and it has this nice tip here for application, where you can get down in little crevices and squirt some down in there. So Tulip is really great for light blocking. I actually used some down in this one and in this one here on the inside, and that blocked on the outside very nicely. We get a great looking RCS thruster there. So I've also been light blocking on the outside a little bit. Oops, lights just went out here. Oh, I lost my positive. No big. But right now it looks like the USS Black and White Cow, because I've been spraying all the spots that have little tiny light leaks. So I was actually I had just sanded it down flat, and I was just about to go out and hit it with some white to start blocking the black. You got to put a couple layers on to cover the black. It does work, but like I said, it takes a couple of layers. Also, in between that, I've started the bridge. Once again, I've masked all of the edges, and I sprayed the inside black, and I'm actually prepping the back wall of it right now. And I'm actually going to light the little notches on each side. So what I'm doing is I'm masking them on the inside and the outside. Now the outside, there's actually photo etch parts that go in there, so you don't have to really be too careful on the outside. I'm just going to put some masking tape down inside the little recesses there, so that when I spray it, it's not a big deal. I'm going to spray the outside black and then white, and then on the inside, I'm just going to brush some black paint in there, and then I'll paint the whole inside of the bridge white, and then we'll glue it down. So it is really coming along. So I will be right back once I get some of this stuff done, and we'll see how it's coming along. But it should look a lot different once we're there. So hold tight. All right, welcome back to our primed plastic starship. So this is actually the bottom of the saucer. I went through and light blocked, and then with black primer and then white primer on top of it. I also covered up any pegs that were going to go into the top saucer, and I also put a little bit of tape over the peg holes, because they do go all the way through. If you get any paint or anything in these, it will not go together. So if you get paint in here or on the pegs, getting the neck into the saucer is almost impossible. So make sure not to get any paint in there. I also did my thing where I masked around the edge so that the glue has something to bite into. So there may be a little bit of light blocking there once we get it together, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. I also primed the top saucer. This is just the first coat, so it's still showing through a little bit, but I need to sand it and reprime it again. But one of the things that will happen is I had a run on my black primer down here. You can see here I was rescribing all the lines, so just so you know, it happens to all of us, little mistakes. The other side looks pretty good though. All the rest of it looks fine. It's just back in this corner I had two runs that of course went over all of my detail and in a nice big blob, so I had to go through and fix it. So I have also, with the bridge, light blocked and then sprayed on the inside after I masked. The outside still needs to be primed on the back. This is a clear part. What I did was I masked the inside and outside of where the little lights come through, and I put in the photo etch bit for the docking port. I just used a little drop of CA glue and then some canopy glue for the ring around it. There's actually two pieces in there. So, and I've also drilled out the hole using a 1/16 inch bit, hogged out slightly for my 2mm lighthouse LED that'll go in there for the strobe light. So this is almost ready to glue on very, very, very shortly. So that will start looking pretty good. Once that's in, I'm going to, there's actually a clear part that goes under this right here, and I'm actually going to use it this time. I usually don't, but I want to see what it looks like. So I'm going to put it in, and then I'm going to carefully mask off the clear parts here so that I can paint that without worrying about it. So that will be the next step once I get the bridge on. After that, the only lighting we have left are the impulse engines and the impulse crystal, and then everything in the bottom. So in the bottom, we've already lit these windows in the bottom here. The only thing we have is the lower sensor dome, which is actually one plastic opaque part and 4 clear parts. So those 4 clear parts have to be light blocked and glued in and then painted black separately so that everything looks all sharp. And then we've got to mask those off so that we can paint the bottom of the saucer with the pearl white and everything and make it all pretty. So that is the next step. We are making extremely good headway. The saucer itself is really coming along and will probably be put together soon. So I may wait to actually glue it together until the secondary hull is all glued together. That way I can still get to the wiring, and if I need to change anything I can. I won't actually seal this up until we're ready to connect it all together. So, but we're making very good progress, and I suspect I'll be getting started on the secondary hull here very soon, which means I'm going to have to actually finish my shuttle bay, which I haven't quite finished yet. It's very, very close, but I have to finish that, and the officer's lounge. I still haven't painted it. It's still got, I still have to go through and do that, because I really hate detail painting like that. So you wouldn't know it, because I detail painted the ever-loving crap out of my Millennium Falcon, which the cutaway part that's all it is detail painting, and that was actually fun. But on this little bugger, that isn't very fun because it's so tiny. So we will do the best we can though with it, and I'll even put up the silly decals that go on the back walls. I still don't know why they put the decal on this back wall, because when you look through it, you don't see it. You just don't see it. So I don't know, whatever. But anyway, when next you see it, I'll have some. I'll have the 3 lights that go in here, and then also I forgot the navigation lights. There's 3 of them that go in the bottom, so we'll get those in too, and then I'll start on the lower sensor dome. So anyway, soon I'll be back. Okay, welcome back, modelers. So I've been working on the bridge over the last day or two, mostly just priming and light blocking and stuff. I did drill out the strobe in the top, just enough to get a lighthouse LED in there, and as you can see, it fits perfectly. I also glued in the back and light blocked the back of it, just hand painted it. I also put a couple of masks over the lights. There's actually 2 little lights that go in the sides over there. They're kind of crescent shaped, and they're all they're all masked on the back to allow light through, and then I masked the front as well. I didn't do the crescent shapes though. I just did round masks made from a punch. I have a 3/32 inch punch that's great for masking windows. You just put out tape and you cut it out, and then you've got a nice, perfectly round piece of tape there, which is great for all these models and stuff. Little fun fact. But anyway, on the back here, what they have included in the photo etch set is a set of brass parts that will go right in here and do the light blocking. Now, I just cut these from the fret, so what I have to do is I have to remove the burrs and then go out in my paint booth and hit them with some primer. I have some Tamiya fine primer, which is great for priming brass like this. And then I can glue it in, and then I'll use a little bit of liquid mask inside so that I don't mess up the actual lighting, and then I can go ahead and prime right over it. So I'm going to do that at the same time as I get this mounted up. I did notice when you put the bridge in, there's a little gap under here. And I've also got some gaps around the edge here of the clear part that I think I might fill some of those in and kind of make it a little smoother on the back. So I might actually go look at the reference of the ship and see what it looks like in reality, but I don't think that big line is actually there, so I'll go find out and see. But yeah, the bridge is taking shape. I'm going to go ahead and get this installed, and I'll actually put one LED inside to light up the windows in the front, which is using this clear part, which I'm going to use because, like I said, I want to see what it looks like. And then I'll also do the strobe lights, so we'll have plenty of lighting in there to make it look cool. So the other thing that I'm going to do, I still haven't done and I need to do, is on the bottom of the saucer. I still need to get those stupid navigation lights in, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. That shouldn't take very long. They're pretty easy to install. I haven't even drilled these out yet. So remember, it's a 1/16 inch drill bit. I use the Dremel drill bits to do that. And then once you've got it drilled out, you need to hog it out just a little bit. The next size up is, I believe, 5/64 inch, and that one is too big. It actually makes a really big hole, and then you've got a big gap. So don't ask how I know that. I found out the hard way. So yeah, 1/16 inch, and then hog it out just a little bit, and you can get a 2mm LED in there, no problem. So once I get all those three installed, I can drill my hole and get this thing ready. I can actually put it together and see what it's going to look like, and then I'll get on the impulse crystal and the impulse engines as well. So we're making headway. We'll get her done. So when I come back, I should have more of this lighting done, so see you then. Okay, so I've been doing a little bit of work on the bridge right now. You can see all my wire mess through the windows. Ew. Fortunately, the being painted officer's lounge will go in there. But anyway, I've been working on the bridge, and I've gotten the strobe light installed. It's strobing according to how I timed it on the Arduino, and it's working perfectly. I also put in the little photo etch pieces here that allow the lights for the docking port to come through properly. I also did the photo etch on the back of the bridge. I think I already mentioned that, but yeah, I did. I've also put in the plastic part, or the clear part right here that goes underneath the bridge, and then I also masked it, so that when I spray the bridge and prime it and paint it, I don't have to worry about getting anything on that. I just used some regular 10mm Tamiya tape, or Tamiya tape, depends on who you talk to, how it's pronounced. But anyway, I used some of that, and I just put a little bit on the edge, and then used a brand new X-Acto blade to trim it, so that it exactly fits on the 3 openings. So now, one thing I did not expect on the bridge, though, is huge gaps. So there's going to be some filling, puttying, sanding. Yeah, good times. So I'm not really sure which way is easier, if doing it the stock way is easier or modifying it is easier. Because if you modify it, you have to remove the material on the bridge itself, or not on the bridge, on the saucer itself that the bridge attaches to, this stuff here. You remove that, and then you add a little bit of strip styrene to the bottom of the bridge to kind of build it up a little bit, and then you scooch it forward about that far so that it's one big slope here, and then you can get that spotlight to come out. But I just did it stock here to mostly to see if it was any easier, and to show that it still looks okay, which it does. I mean, it looks like the bridge. So now, those of you who are wanting to do the modification, I can actually show exactly what that looks like, because I did it on my previous one. So if we go over to my 1/350 scale Enterprise here and turn it on, that's exactly what I did here. As you can see, I added a little bit of strip styrene, I removed the material on the saucer, and I scooched it forward so that it's one big line here. Sorry about the lighting, but as you can see, it allows for a spotlight to be put on the front of the saucer. So that's one way to do it as well. So yeah, my poor Enterprise is dark, but it still doesn't look too bad. But anyway, there's a couple ways to do it. Whichever way you choose to do it is perfectly okay. Just decide which way you want to go and go for it. Neither one of them is difficult, and both of them look okay. So anyway, back to the new one here. So next I have to glue this down. I'm actually going to put a little bit of tulip on the back side of all of my flashing LEDs in order to block out the light. As you can see, even when it's flashing, it's still lit, even when it's not lit. And that's because there's a light inside of here to light up the bridge. So I'm going to put a little bit of tulip on the back side of this so that when it goes out, it's dark. And do that for all of the flashing lights. And we don't want to have it lit and then strobe. We want it to actually look like a strobe light. So I'll take care of that as well before I glue it on, and then I will be gluing the bridge down and starting my putty work on that. So I think I'm going to wrap up this video, and on the next video I'm going to finish up the bridge and work on the sensor dome and finally get to those stupid nav lights on the bottom. The bottom of the saucer doesn't take very long, mostly because it's just navigation lights and the lower sensor dome. After that, I have to take care of this, and I have to take care of the impulse engines. So, and that also isn't too difficult. Now, what we need to decide is how we're going to light them and what mode we're going to do, you know, for impulse and warp. I'm not adding a lot of effects to this. It's going to have an impulse mode and a warp mode, so I need to figure out if this is always blue, if this is always amber, or, you know, how we want to do it, and what color we want to do the impulse engines, and do we want them just on or off. So we'll wire it up accordingly. So anyway, I will pick it up in another week, and we'll continue with the bottom of the saucer. We're getting really close to being done with the saucer. Once the saucer's done, we'll move on to the secondary hull and continue there. So everybody out there, I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I've gotten some really good comments, and it kind of keeps me going with it. So it also keeps me, it's funny when you do the video series, it keeps you on a schedule. You keep having to do it to keep your viewers happy. So I thank you guys for that. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to answer them as quickly as possible. So take care out there, and we'll be back later with our Enterprise thing.